So like you went to Germany, it was a 2-year master's program, is that right? And
Exactly.
then from then on, you've been essentially a full-time resident of Germany. You haven't
Yep.
lived anywhere else since then.
No, actually, I have stayed even in the same city here, like in Munich, Munich,
Okay.
Germany, the home of Oktoberfest.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I've heard it's like a little bit more traditional in the south, right?
They say that like Munich is, or like Bavaria, Bayern, it's called Bayern in German, that it's like the Texas of Germany.
Really? Okay. Just
Yes.
because it's in the south or
Because like conservatism and like leather pants and meat and potatoes, like
okay.
these are all hand in hand. I identify with like none of those things. I'm like a vegan, very, very liberal from
Hmm.
Texas, so like quite the opposite of like a stereotypical Texan.
Right.
Nevertheless, yeah, but Bavaria is an epic state.
I mean, I'm from Alberta, which people say
Oh
Alberta is
yeah,
the
it's like the
Texas of
Texas.
Canada. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that that is somebody's Instagram bio right now. Conservatism, leather pants, meat and potatoes. I,
Oh
I,
yeah.
guarantee,
Those are like the best taglines for them. Yeah.
I
It would
guarantee
make a
it.
good country song.
Yeah, true. Get AI to write one of those.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the longest that you've been back in the States since you moved to Germany?
That's a good question. Yeah, it was 6 weeks. And I was gone. It was following the longest time that I hadn't been back. So I typically would try to go back once a year. I mean, at first I was a student on a student budget, so that was sometimes hard. But I somehow made it happen. I'd go back once a year, and then during the pandemic, there was, I think, a point where I didn't go back for 2 years. And I mean, 1 year always felt like long, like long enough. Like so, 2 years felt like just ages. And after I was gone for 2 years, I think it was then in 2022, I went back for 6 weeks in Texas, and that was actually a point that I was like, I've been in Germany now like 5 years or so. Like maybe it's time to move back. And I was like looking at Texas like with different eyes and everything. And I somehow like came back to Germany and like stuck it out. And now I want to stay here.
So, like, when you were back for those 6 weeks, you were kind of getting tired of being in Europe and were thinking about going back? Or
Yeah.
was it just like, yeah, okay. Hmm.
Exactly. At the time, I even like I wanted to like just have a new adventure. I thought maybe like I'll move to Singapore, or I didn't have a partner. Like I hadn't met my partner Tim yet. So I was just like, oh, like what's the next adventure? Like maybe I in another life, like I'm living in Austin, working at a tech company with like a kayak and a Subaru. I was just like romanticizing like what could life be in Texas? But honestly, like a lot of like one of the biggest reasons why I've also stayed here that I didn't really touch on is safety. Safety is like a huge thing for me. It's a priority, and here in Munich, Germany, I feel incredibly safe versus like a city like Austin, Texas, or any major city in Texas for that sake. And that's something that I'm so grateful for, especially like as a woman. And that's something that I value because I didn't have that actually. I wasn't stressed growing up. It was just like business as usual, normal life. Well, like I said, if you don't know how bad you have it, or like you don't know like that the situation is like not the best, but like it's just your normal. Like so you're not like stressing. But when I came to Germany and suddenly like I felt, I mean, there was like a transition period of 2 years that I was like, I'm not sure about walking at night alone as a woman, because I just like couldn't believe that that was okay. And then eventually like I kind of like let my guard down and was like, okay, like girl, you are safe. Like you're safe here. It's okay to walk as a woman alone at night. Um that like changed everything. I mean, I can't speak for all cities in Germany. Like I live here in Munich, which is just known to be very, very safe. But that to me was like invaluable. And now when I go back to Texas, I look at it with different eyes and I'm like, oh, it sucks. Like how you have to drive everywhere. I can't simply like go walk to the grocery store, and let alone at night. God, if you're like walking alone as a woman at night in Texas, like it's not the best at all. You'd have to watch out. But things are also just so far. So like one wouldn't. It's just a very, very different life. So I think a big reason why I continue to choose to like live here is safety.